like forever.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think anybody lives in an RV forever, so. Midweek update. Hey everyone, I am so excited, Patty, to be doing this video.
I know.
I've wanted to do a Q&A video for a really long time, but just things have been busy.
Well, it's been nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
And then the other thing is, normally this is about the time of year where we shut down for a couple weeks on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and do this video right before the holidays so that number one, we can wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And joining us here on what we like to refer to as the podcast couch.
Yeah, it's double duty today.
It's double duty today. It's YouTube video couch. We got Truman and Bess.
Yes,
so
our Cavalier Spaniels, and he's giving me lovins.
Yep. And by the time you actually are watching this video, we will be arriving in Florida. We do it almost every year for Christmas. Go down and spend time with family and friends.
Yep.
And
time away and time off and time to just
chill out. But Patty,
yes.
we ended up, what I ended up doing was asking on Facebook, Instagram, and over on YouTube for people to post their questions that they have for us.
Right.
And I think today we have about 16 questions.
Ooh, okay.
So we appreciate everyone who submitted a question.
Nice.
And we're going to get into this. And what I tried to do was group the questions in kind of like categories so that the questions flow a little bit.
Yeah.
So the first one, grouping of questions, is about our life and some of the things that are going on with it. So question number one, this comes to us from our friend Barb, who says, what are your plans for teaching? Will you still do something on the same lines?
No. At least for me anyway. Well,
at least in the short term.
In the short term, he's retiring from teaching. I'm just leaving early. And we're going to do something different. We're both a little burnt out from teaching and all of that goes along with it nowadays. And we just feel like we want a different adventure. So I know you're going to be working at the campground.
That's right. I am going to be managing Happy Acres Campground in Angola, Indiana.
And then, well, we both do it too, but the eBay business, Patty Ann Fashion and Patty Ann Patrick Thrifts.
Yep. But you're going to be taking the lead on that.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing...
I'll still help out, obviously, when time allows.
My full-time gig. That'll be what I'm be doing because this past summer in June and July, I did a lot of it, and the store really grew, and it was a lot of fun, and I know that's what I want to do right now. So that's kind of the plan. We're going to be selling the cabin, hopefully, this spring, and then we won't be living full-time in our trailer, but we'll be doing some of that for a while and then find a new home somewhere.
Well, technically, we will be living in it full-time for 2 to 3 years.
Well, that's what I meant, but yeah.
So
not just like forever.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think anybody lives in an RV forever. So next question comes to us from another friend, Kelly. Kelly says, I think a lot of prospective RVers want to understand what the cost of RVing full-time really looks like.
Oh, we've been working on that.
Yeah, and obviously we have not started our full-time journey yet.
No.
So we can't really answer that question. I do think, though, this channel is going to have a lot more of that type of content going forward because we're not going to be traveling nearly as much.
No.
And so hopefully we can show for those people out there who maybe don't want to be a full-timer in the sense of where you sell everything, move in the RV, and you're moving around the country like every month. Because I think that's a totally different type of full-time experience.
Yeah, that's not going to be us.
Our type of full-time experience is going to be, we're going to be, I think it's about 7 months here in Indiana at Happy Acres.
Right.
And then next winter, we're going to spend about 4 months in Texas.
Yeah.
And you might say that only adds up to 11 months. And that's because there'll be a transition period where we leave Happy Acres and then get to Texas. Because I know a good example is we're going to be going to Louisville, Kentucky on the way to Texas for a campground convention with Angie and Kevin.
Right.
And then coming home, we'll probably do the same thing where that'll be our travel time is kind of in between. So it's going to look a lot different. I will tell you, though, Patty and I have been making a budget because we don't want to go into this blindly.
Right.
And we actually did a whole podcast episode called Debt-Free Living Isn't Really Free.
No, it's not.
And so here's what we can tell you. Once the house sells, we will pay off the truck and the car, which is really our only two
That's the only two things.
installment loans, that type of thing. So we truly will be debt-free. But we started figuring out what it takes to live. Everything from health insurance, car insurance,
dog food,
vet
vet visits,
visits,
yeah, health visits.
in car. I see. I did insurance.
And it's
You've got fuel for your day-to-day life. We do like to eat, so you're
yeah,
going
you
to have
gotta have
groceries. You're going to have
food.
eating out. You're going to have some utilities. I mean, there's a lot into it, and we came up with about, I think it was around 36,000.
That's what I was
And
thinking.
that's really without doing anything extra.
Right.
That's just day-to-day survival.
Yeah.
So, I figure it's probably going to be somewhere closer to 55,000 a year is what we're going to need
Right.
to generate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, we will keep you posted on that. We can't fully answer because we don't fully know ourselves.
Exactly.
Here we go. Here's another one from somebody that we have known for a really long time, Papa Fred up in Canada.
Hi, Papa Fred.
And he said, this one just says, not a question, but enjoying seeing you transition to full time. We are a few years away, but learning from watching you guys. You were the first channel I followed.
Aww,
and in fact,
thanks.
a lot of you will not know this, but I think it was back in 2018. Was it 2018 when we got this little guy?
I think so, or 2019.
I can't
I'm
remember,
sure.
but we had this whole trip planned where we were going up into Canada. We're going to Banff, and then we were going to go out to Vancouver Island. I had camping sites booked, and we were going to meet up with Fred and his wife in Canada. They were taking a couple days off from work. They had their campsites. And then anyone who's followed our channel since then knows that when we got Truman, because he was a baby, there was you can't get rabies shots when they're
in the United States. Yeah, you really don't, because there's got to be 6 months or older.
So the issue was not getting into Canada. The issue was with the U.S. side.
Yeah.
And so we ended up having to, we still went on vacation, but we just couldn't go into Canada that summer. So someday, Fred, we're going to get up there. We
will get there.
So
that's the plan.
And then we also have one from Tessa who says, I'm really still interested in your life transition. Have you both stopped teaching? And where are you in the process, and how are you feeling about it? So it's kind of like a three-part question.
Well, we're both still teaching. Right now, the plan for both of us is to finish out the school year, and then we'll go from there. All depending if the house sells. So
right,
yeah.
So everything is contingent on the house selling, because if the house doesn't sell, then one of us has to keep working full time because we still have the mortgage, we have a truck payment, and we have a car payment.
Right.
But once the house sells, then I will officially retire from the college, and you will put in your notice.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we're at in it. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good about it. I mean, you've done more than I have, but we've really been working on kind of starting to downsize already. We've got our storage unit. We're starting to think about things we want to keep, things we want to sell, things we want to goodwill, because we could sell stuff on the eBay store or whatever. And yeah, I think we've tackled a lot of big projects to get going on this whole thing. So there's some stuff we had to do with the cabin, like painting this room and getting the outside looking good again, and because we weren't here all summer. And yeah, I think we're getting good. I feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I think anytime you're giving up a job of 28 years,
there are moments where you go,
there's some apprehension, there's some anxiety, fear of the unknown, because we do have to come up with $55,000 a year of actual cash to live on. Now, again, I'm still going to be working full time for Happy Acres, and Patty's going to be doing the eBay, but that's going to put more pressure on her because she's going to have to get the store probably triple what it's doing right now. We still get a little bit of income from YouTube. I mean, overall, I feel like we're going to piece together the financial side, but I had somebody at work ask me, aren't you scared? And I said, of course I'm scared. But I'm more scared of not doing it in 5 or 10 years, looking back with regret that, we just kept working and we never took that risk. And so to me, the fear of doing it is far outweighed by the fear of not doing it. So, but to say that I don't think about or worry about at times.
Oh yeah. It goes up and down. It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You go in phases.
But overall, I mean, gosh, we're so excited about what lies.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
All right. So I think that was all the questions revolving us transitioning to full-time living. So,
all right.
All right. Next category deals with travel.
All right.
All right. So Denise says, do you have any big travel plans for the future? Say maybe Alaska. I would love to see you guys do Alaska.
Well, we will go to Alaska someday. It's
Right.
going to be after we're retired because we even decided after, because we were going to go when Truman was littler, older, with some friends around COVID time, and then COVID hit, and we were going to caravan and all that, and then we just said, okay, we're not going to be able to see as much as we want, still being teachers, because I have to be back, beginning of August. So do you, and so we don't want to go to Alaska unless we can actually do a bunch of Alaska and do everything we want. So that'll probably be down the road after we get comfortable being not teachers. And
Right. And the thing is, Alaska has to be done in the summer.
yeah, usually
And
like
as long as, and because I'm only going to be, 57 next fall.
mhm,
So I'm planning to work for, several more years, hopefully with Happy Acres,
right.
which means, our summers are kind of tied up. But when I finally get around to, retire, then Alaska is definitely on
We
our
want to go.
list,
Yeah.
and we want
Oh
to do
yeah.
that. So unfortunately, we'll be stuck. I don't want to say stuck.
We're going to be
We're going to
committed to
doing,
different things for
yeah,
a
it'll
while.
be more winter travel. Good example is our plan right now is next winter we're going to be wintering in Texas,
Yeah.
right near my aunt and uncle, Colonel Woody, Aunt Priscilla,
Yeah.
and so one of the things we're excited about is because they have their fifth wheel is
Goes,
Texas is a huge
yeah.
state. Like,
So huge.
and there's places they've never been, and so we'll be able to say like, hey, do you guys want to hitch up and go away for a week and maybe go to Big Bend,
Yes.
and or maybe over around, I don't know, I mean there's just so many
There's so
places.
many cool spots that we've been
So
watching. Yeah.
yeah, I think we'll actually end up doing a little more travel this away. It'll just be more like local travel specific to Texas or maybe somewhere nearby Texas in
Right.
the winter months. But eventually, and I was going to say, I just saw another question here. Susan and Dave,
Yeah.
Susan and
Yeah.
Dave.
Uh-huh.
We have so many people that we know, we become friends with. And Susan said the same thing. She says, I too wanted to know if you're going to Alaska, because they want to go, but they're looking for somebody to go with. And I think when we do it,
We'll want to
that's
be with a
what,
group because
yeah,
we've when we did our research about it. One, it's more fun. Two, if you have an issue, you've got other RVers in a caravan, and it just makes it more fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'd still like to do the trip with Russ and Carrie.
It was what our plan was.
That was the
Yeah.
plan. For those of you who know Russ and Carrie from the Roads We Roam, we had that thing all planned out until
Oh yeah.
COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we'd still like to do that.
Absolutely.
Let's see. All right. Here, the next one is from, Christine. Christine says, we are finally ready to take the plunge and get an RV. Well,
Ooh.
congratulations.
Nice.
A decision will be made after the Tampa RV show. My question for both of you is, what apps do you use to make your travel plans
Ooh.
and use consistency in RV life? There seems to be so many, and it's overwhelming. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. We're talking travel days or
Well,
camping?
how we plan our trips. What apps do we use?
All
Because
right.
there are a gazillion apps
So
out
let
there.
me think. Campendium. Do we use that
We
one?
I do use Campendium. We definitely use Allstays.
Allstays.
Allstays is a huge one for us.
Right.
I would say Campendium is the
Second one.
Yeah, and I would say those are honestly the two that we
Allstays
use.
does, if you want to do like we call it boondocking, but like Cracker Barrels, right?
Yeah, you can find Cracker Barrels on Allstays.
And campgrounds.
Yeah,
And all kinds.
it's just everything.
Even like truck stops for your fuel and right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that one. That's our go-to, I guess, the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other apps we do use, and I think it's all dependent on your camping style. Like we have the Harvest Host app because
Right.
we're Harvest Host members.
Yep.
If you're not a Harvest Host member, then you wouldn't use that
Mhm.
one. And there's others out there. I do use RV Life a little bit because, there you can get campground reviews, and I like that app for that purpose. And that's also now where our GPS for the RV is.
Okay.
And I forget what the name of that is, but they bought out what we were paying for.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say if I could only have one app for
That would be
planning, it would be Allstays.
Right. Because he can even give you reviews on there, right? Isn't that the one I'm thinking of where you can
Yeah,
read
yeah.
about
There's some
places?
reviews on there, and yeah.
And then usually, like if we're doing a Cracker Barrel, the numbers there, and I can call because we always like to call and make sure it's okay. But yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
our good one.
And I don't know if that answers all of your question. If it doesn't, always feel free to shoot us an email, travelswithdelaney@gmail.com, and then when I get a chance, I can respond
Sure.
in more depth on that. So I also think we have a video
We do.
somewhere floating
Yes,
around in
somewhere out
YouTube
there,
world
yeah.
about our
In a
favorite apps
cloud
for
or
travel.
somewhere.
I mean, because good example is for trip planning, it's Allstays.
Yeah.
But the day of travel, You use iExit.
I like iExit because it tells, like, because we have the big rig, and even when we have the smaller rig, where gas stations are off of the exit, where they're located, on which exit, how far ahead you have to go when you're trying to, manage your gas and your fuel and your food and your restroom breaks. And it's a really easy one to use. It tells you if the gas station's on the right or left or the highway, you know what I mean? It just makes it how far you have to go, and it's really easy to read and maneuver and manage. It's a good one. So iExit.
All right. Now, this next grouping of questions kind of transitions from travel more specifically to just RVs in general.
Okay.
Wild Blue Discovery wants to know, what is our favorite RV dehumidifier?
Well, what's the one we own?
I don't know. Here's the thing,
one.
Wild Blue. We bought a cheap
It's little
tabletop
It's about that
dehumidifier
big.
in 2021.
Wasn't it from Amazon?
It was from Amazon.
Yeah, it's about
the
this big.
one
It's
we
rounded.
actually have, every time I went back on Amazon, it says it's no longer available.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of them on Amazon, and I want to say we paid maybe $35 for this.
And it does a decent job.
It does a really good job.
And I think it was Carrie.
It was Carrie
who said they had got it for their little guy, Max, and then it worked really well. So we got it because sometimes, in the summer you need it, and then definitely in the winter, if you're winter camping, you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we're getting ready. That thing is 3 years old now. It'll be 4 years come July.
It has a nightlight on if you wanted it. It's quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought it would last this long. I'll be honest. It was like $35, and that thing,
sleek,
and we use it all the time. We just leave it plugged in.
Yeah, it just fits right on a little tabletop. It's perfect.
Yeah, if I remember, I'll go on. Well, I hate to give you a link, only because I'll look and see if this one ever came back in stock. But if not, I won't link it. But if you just search on Amazon for tabletop dehumidifiers, they're just the small ones. And I think for an RV, it's plenty big. I mean, in the summer, I'll be emptying that thing every couple days.
Yeah, especially in August.
Yeah. And that's how we know it's working.
Yeah,
so.
It does a good job.
All right. The next question comes from our friend Paul. The Air Force Guy Chamberlain. Now, most of you, I've been leaving out your last names because I don't know if you want it shouted out. But I know Paul does, because
I think he knows the answer to this question.
I think Paul does. I think he set me up with a softball answer. His question was, is there such a thing as a China bomb? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
That is a term that has kind of caught on for many years.
It's about tires.
It has to do with RV tires, and it's the cheap Chinese imported tires that RV manufacturers have used and continue to use, some of them.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of your bigger manufacturers have decided to switch because,
to a better tire.
Yeah, so like our Alliance came with Goodyear Endurance. But yeah, so when you hear that term in the RV industry, it's referring to those cheap tires, and they are notorious for blowing out early on. Yep. In fact, it used to be, we would buy an RV. Like I remember when we bought our Cougar fifth wheel,
switch out the tires
we immediately would switch out the tires before traveling, because those tires were just notorious for, and I didn't want to have a blowout.
No, that's not fun.
No, because you can do a lot of damage to your RV.
Yeah.
So
ruin your whole vacation.
Yeah. And so, anyway, but if you're looking to buy an RV, definitely look up our friend Paul, the Air Force Guy.
He knows a lot about this.
He's at Southland RV down near Savannah, Georgia. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on YouTube.
He's got a podcast now, right?
He's got a podcast now. And here's the thing: I told Paul we had dinner with him back in April. And I said to Paul, I feel bad because we have never actually bought a trailer from Paul.
No,
because Paul has actually talked us out of trailers before. It's not that we haven't tried, and he would sell us one, but here's the thing: you will not find a more honest RV salesperson than Paul Chamberlain, and I'm going to throw in one other, PJ Berger from Princess Craft. Those two people are the most honest. They will be upfront with you. I mean, Paul, literally, I called him when we were looking to upgrade from the New Camp 400. He had an Avi on the lot. I called him and he goes, "You don't want it." And I'm like, "You do know you sell RVs, Paul, right?"
Yeah.
And he just said, he goes, "Patrick, you're not going to be happy with it." And he gave me all these reasons. He would rather lose the sale and know you're happy.
Well, he directed us in a different direction.
Yeah. And so I always know I can call Paul and get questions answered, and I know he's going to be honest with me. So I just want to say that this is not a paid endorsement or anything. It's just, we just think Paul's a great guy. We've seen how he treats customers, and so yeah, look up Paul.
Look up Mr. Paul.
And Next question. I keep
Yes.
scrolling here. This is a long one. So
Oh, ooh,
Randy
okay.
wants to know, and this is not Randy from Randy's Adventures. This is a
Okay.
different Randy.
Okay.
Randy wants to know, he says, we recently purchased a new to us 2018 Tab 400, which was the one we had.
Right.
Not the exact one, but that
No,
was the
but
year.
that's the year, yeah.
He said, you towed yours with a 4Runner and a Tacoma. How did they both do towing, and which did you like best? We are towing right now with the 26 Honda Pilot all-wheel drive and the factory towing package with the transmission cooler. We had a Tab 320 before, and it towed great. We only towed this 400 home from where we bought it, about 300 miles. It towed great, but I would like a steel frame vehicle rather than a unibody. Thanks for your thoughts and your great videos.
I think they both towed well, but I think the favorite would have to be the 4Runner.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think, yeah, the Tacoma, a lot of people do pull a Tab 400 with a Tacoma, and it pairs really well.
Well, and you have all that bed space for extra gear. And
Yeah, and that was the reason we upgraded from the 4Runner to the Tacoma, was I'd gotten tired of carrying around a generator in the 4Runner because of the gas.
Yeah.
And so we wanted bed space. But I have to be honest, I have almost regretted getting rid of that 4Runner.
Well, the 4Runner is on a truck chassis, right?
Right. The 4Runner, the difference between the 4Runner and the Highlander, which they're basically unibody, which is what Randy's talking about, and the 4Runner is on a truck chassis steel. And that 4Runner was awesome for towing that Tab 400.
It didn't, well, either one did not struggle.
And I like the 4Runner as my daily driver better than the Tacoma.
Right.
The other thing was, I actually felt like the 4Runner did a little bit better job. If you remember, the transmission was kind of wonky on the Tacoma. I felt like it shifted too much.
Well, it kept shifting on us. So the 4Runner, I'd go hands down. It was more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it worked great.
But either one I mean, great. It wasn't like the Tacoma struggled.
No, it didn't.
So,
no.
But the 4Runner, definitely. We took our Tab 400 over Snoqualmie Pass out in Washington. Absolutely no problem. I mean, that thing was a beast going up, coming down.
No problems.
So hopefully that helps.
Because at U Camp, a lot of folks we saw had their tabs pulled with a Tacoma, which gave us, we were thinking, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but either one.
Okay. We're back to Papa Fred.
Papa Fred.
Yeah, he says, I saw your video on your truck with your new Alliance. I know it's capable, but how does it feel towing? Have you hit any hills? I'm wrestling with diesel versus gas right now.
This thing does awesome. We call it Indy. Indy takes on any challenge. Indy does great. You don't even know it's back there, do you?
No. And so with the current Alliance, which is the bigger one, the 33 foot, we took that to South Carolina this summer and back. And so we hit the hills on I-40. Yeah, before I-40 washed out down near the Tennessee line. Yeah. And it did fine. We have had no issues. I debated as well, diesel versus gas, but we decided for us, no more than we tow. And we live in Indiana currently in the winter, and I didn't want to deal with diesel in the winter. And so, we're happy with the gas. Now, I have a feeling if you went much bigger, we would either have to go to a 1 ton. We're in a 3/4 ton right now.
Yeah.
But does fine.
It does great. It does a good job. Because we call it Indy, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Because we bought it in
And gas is cheaper typically than diesel right now.
The downside is sometimes it's hard to get gas because you need diesel. It would be easier to go in with the semis.
Right.
But you kind of just
that would be one reason I was considering diesel. Was I thought, diesel lanes are always in the back. They're set up for big rig,
open areas for
where
big rigs,
sometimes when you're fighting with cars to get in with a big rig, it's not fun. We deal with it,
but we figure it out. So,
but for us, and again, I think a lot of it's personal preference. For us, I actually like the gas,
and it's comfortable and it's easy to tow, and it's easy to drive, and it's good.
Brenda says, I am planning on going full-time in a Tab 320 for a while, and if all goes well, upgrade to a 400. My question is, as a solo, is the 400 going to be sufficient? I am towing with a Tundra, and how will it tow the 400, and do I need sway bar or weight distribution?
It's going to tow so easy, and we have a lot of friends. I'm thinking of Gail Gebhardt. Is that her name?
Yeah, Gail tows hers with a Suburban.
She's Suburban 400, single, travels all over with hers, and it's no problem. And I think what you want, a Tundra, that's going to be,
Tundra, yeah,
your Tundra's going to go,
you
why do you have this thing on me? I can do something bigger than this. But
yeah.
yeah, and I think the 400 as a single is going to give you even a little bit more space as a single.
Oh yeah.
Not that a 320 is bad for you, but yeah, I think a 400 would be good.
And I do on the weight you don't need weight
No,
distribution with
not
Tab
with.
400.
Mm-mm.
I would recommend a sway bar. Now I know there's going to be people that will disagree with me.
It's just when you
Um,
pass a semi, or
yeah, I
gives you
actually
more
we always
stability.
use the single sway bar, friction sway bar. The other thing you might want to look into is it I think you could use the Anderson weight distribution, which is really designed more for sway
Mm-hmm.
than distribution. But honestly, one friction sway bar is what we ran, worked perfect. Definitely don't need weight
Your
distribution.
Tundra's gonna go. What are
Yeah,
we doing here?
yeah. The Tundra will be great with a
Uh huh.
400, and I think a 400 would be perfect.
Perfect for singles.
Check out Jen Grover.
Yes, she's another
She's the
one.
ambassador
Mm-hmm.
for, I believe, the Tab was. Oh, is she in a 320?
I don't know for sure. She
I don't
flips
know
around to
because
different ones.
I think Mandy and Kendrick are the ambassadors for the 400, but there's plenty of there are people out there doing it solo in those. So that would be one thing. I also saw somebody responded to this comment and said you might want to check out the new Tab 360, which is
Oh,
somewhere between
we
a
haven't seen that
320 and
one.
340. I've only seen videos of it, haven't seen it in person, but they suggested it might be a more
So
efficient
it's
use of
between the
space.
320 and 400.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
but no, I honestly, before we had Truman and Bass, we
It
actually
was
talked and we
perfect.
could go full time in a Tab 400. Now, I don't know, we're older, maybe not
That was
now,
a few years ago, so I don't know if that's
but the
gonna
thing
be
is,
good.
the great thing about the Tab 400 is you can go anywhere. You can park it basically
Oh, we have
anywhere.
some very awesome spots
Yeah.
with the little trailer. So,
So,
yep.
all right, I think that's all of that category, and now we're down to the final category,
Dun,
um,
ta-da!
which deals with YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube questions.
YouTube. All
Tuber
right. Tuber
questions.
questions.
All right. RV Wills says, what's the quickest way to start a YouTube channel? And the quickest way is just to start doing it.
Just
So
don't be so picky. Just
I,
get out there and make videos, right?
yeah, I teach digital marketing, and I always tell students, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you just need to do it now. And you don't need to go buy fancy equipment to get
We
started.
just use the
You
phone.
just need to, if you don't have a YouTube account set up already, then go set one up and use your smartphone, go out and film a video, upload it, and publish it. I hear people all the time like, well, I don't want to publish a video till it's perfect. Guess what? When you start a YouTube channel, nobody's going to watch it anyway.
It doesn't have to be
And I
perfect.
tell the students, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's the truth. The way the algorithm works on YouTube, when you first start, nobody's really going to see those videos. So what you want to do is you just want to start making content.
See, I know
The
that.
more you post, the more the algorithm will start to understand what you're trying to do with your videos,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll start putting it out in front of people. And while you're making all these videos that aren't perfect, you'll be honing your video skills and your editing skills and getting better while doing it.
Yes.
So don't waste months making the perfect video because nobody's going to really end up seeing it. Just shoot a video, upload it, start practicing, get it. And honestly, that's the way to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
And just understand, YouTube is very difficult today. If I was starting on YouTube today compared to back in 2017 when we started, and the reason for that is there's just so many more people doing it.
So many people.
But that doesn't mean don't do it. I always want to set realistic.
Be reality.
Yeah.
Be real here.
Jennifer didn't have a question, but she did say, love your content, always
Aw.
entertaining. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And let's see here. Pat wants to know, do you guys watch other YouTube channels? And if so, what are your favorites?
Well, if we're talking, they're not doing camping anymore, but I guess we have to go with North and South. It's a family in North Carolina. We started watching them. They're a family of 11. The lot were theirs. They adopted a bunch of kids. They were in
When we started
like
following
a
them in
fifth wheel,
2017, they had just sold their house
and they were going to
and
go
they went full
camping.
time in a fifth wheel
Yeah.
with 11 people.
And since then, they've done all different things, but they've settled back down in North Carolina. And we just watch them. It's interesting because we watch. I guess it's to see what the kids are doing. The kids are growing up on TV and all that. So that's one of them.
Right.
We watch a lot of thrifting right now because that's what we're into. The thrifting channels, Commonwealth Flipper and HDH
Dave and
and
yeah.
Home
And
School
a lot of people are
Picker.
shocked. We don't really watch RV YouTube anymore.
Sometimes we watch they're from Smokies, Dawn and Will.
Right, which is more like travel,
Travel.
not RV.
What's their channel called?
Yankee in the South.
Yeah.
You know, I watch a lot of Disney content.
Yeah.
But that could change too because I don't know that we probably won't be back to Disney for a couple of years.
We've been watching a lot of Tiny House.
Tiny House. We're really
Because
into
we're
Tiny
thinking about
House.
going after our few years in the trailer full time. We're gonna maybe do a tiny house.
Right.
That's what we're thinking. Trying to think. Day Tripper is a big one right now.
We've been watching a lot of the Day Tripper, yeah,
So
to get
funny.
ready for our winter in Texas.
Don't watch a lot of RV stuff anymore.
No.
People RVing anymore.
It doesn't mean there's not great RV
No.
content. It just, you know how your
Well, I
tastes
guess we're
change and your
watching,
interests change. And
Jonathan's channel.
well, we always watch Tree Talker the Traveler.
and-
I mean, it's basically our friends when
Yeah.
they put out videos. You know, Brazen Brits. I could go through the whole list. Happy Place Diaries. Russ and Carrie haven't put out a video in a long time, but obviously if they put out anything, we watch it. So, but I would say our day-to-day YouTube habits, and we watch a lot of YouTube, it's resellers and it's Disney and Will and Dawn from Yankee in the South and North and South.
Meat Church or whatever. Barbecue.
Oh yeah, I have been watching a lot of smoking videos, barbecue videos.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all right. Next question.
Yes.
Tammy wants to know, what advice do you have for a new YouTuber planning to start a channel called Rutbuster Retirees on our adventures post-retirement? Have the gimbal, mini mic, lots of topics. Any advice would be appreciated.
I like the name.
Yeah. I would say what I said before, you just have to start making content. And for one thing, you've just got to start making the content. You've got to figure out who your audience is. One of the problems that I see with content creators is they go into it of making videos for themselves, and that's okay. If all you're really trying to do is document your travels for yourself and your family,
right, like a memoir thing.
Yeah, then do that. But if you're wanting to grow a channel and turn it into a business, you really need to identify who is your audience going to be, what content are they looking for, and how can you help them solve their problems, and then focus in on that type of content. And just understand it is a hard haul for the vast majority of new channels, meaning most of us, if we start a channel, it could literally take us, well, in our case, we've been doing this now, it'll be 8 years in June, and we're at 45,000 subscribers. Now, is there a channel that in their first 6 months might break out and get 20, 30,000 followers because they have that breakout moment? Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, that's like the person that won the lottery last weekend. It's not very often. So you have to go into it with, it's a long game. You have to figure out really why you're doing it. Are you doing it for yourself?
What's the point?
Are you doing it to create a business? And, but the main thing is you just got to do it. Most people will talk about doing it. And I will tell you, here's what I always tell my students at the end of my digital marketing classes. I always say, these are the things you need to have if you're going to be successful. Number one, you have to have patience. It takes time to build an audience. It does not happen overnight. You have to be persistent, meaning there are going to be times where you want to quit, but you just have to persist and keep on doing. Yep. And then consistency. You can't put out a video and then wait 3 months to put out another. You need to come up with a cadence. If you can only do one video every other week, then do one video every other week.
Better than
if you can do one video a week, obviously the more content you make, the more exposure you're going to get. It doesn't necessarily, as I would tell students, that doesn't mean put up 5 videos a week that are all crap. But consistency, patience, and persistence are really 3 of the keys. And I think the persistence, we see a lot of YouTube channels start, and then after a couple of years, they are not getting the results they wanted, and so they just quit doing it. They get discouraged, and maybe we'll get discouraged someday. But
another channel came to my mind that we watch is Hannah Ricketts out of London, and right now she tells you up front, a lot of them do, that I have a video Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sunday. And she's doing it for the holiday, and then she'll go back to Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever. So she tries to be consistently. You're gonna see a new video from her on those days. Which, if you like it, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna watch. It's gonna be on today. What's she doing?
Yep.
And
so
hers is fun too. So
that's it, Patty. That's all the questions.
That's all the questions.
That was a lot of questions.
That was a lot of questions.
Well, thank you to all of you who submitted questions. This was a lot of fun. I hope we can do this again in the future and answer any questions you have. In fact, I even put in there, we don't care what the questions is. We've done these before where people ask about why we don't have kids. We don't care. We'll share that. We don't have kids.
Don't.
We tried. We couldn't, and that's okay.
Didn't have the proper parts.
Yeah. I have the parts.
My equipment was shoddy. I had shoddy equipment.
So, all right, everyone. hopefully you have a wonderful Merry Christmas,
Yes.
Happy New Year, and whatever other celebrations you have during this
Yes.
time with your family and
Hopefully
friends.
you get time to spend time and give your time, because that's the fun, is being with people you like and
That's
enjoy.
right.
Yeah.
And don't forget, don't just camp.
Camp happy.
Oh, wrong video.
Oh, shoot.
All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see ya.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.